I was going to say watching my stories.
Yeah, the old habits. Old habits are going to die hard.
Yeah. Welcome to Our Charmed Midlife.
Ta-da! This is Our Charmed Midlife.
Yeah, we had an actual audio only podcast. We did over 100 episodes, I think.
Yeah.
And we shut that down 2 years ago when we were moving from Southern California to here to Central Florida. We thought we were going to start it back up when we got here and got settled in, and we didn't. And I think it's just been floating around.
I blame it on the humidity.
Everything can get blamed on the humidity.
Yes, exactly.
As far as I'm concerned.
We meant to, but it just is too humid.
So, I'm Dhani.
I'm John.
And we are married. Was that a shock to you?
I forgot about that. Happy anniversary. Whenever.
Okay, I'll stock that one up for the next anniversary.
Probably a good idea.
So, what is Our Charmed Midlife? Well, we have been going back and forth on trying to do a vlog of some sort.
Yep.
Now that we live in Central Florida, we are Disney people. We kept thinking about doing something like that. And it never really worked out. You'll see there is one video on our channel right now that we tried a couple weeks ago. And that just, it takes a lot of work to do those. And we started thinking, well, maybe if we liked the podcast, what if we did the podcast, but we also made it a video podcast for YouTube as well? So this is our first shot at that.
We struggled with the walk and talk.
Yeah.
But this is much more comfortable for us because, like Dhani said, we had a podcast previously, and I thought it was fun. It was funny. So
it was fun.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and
we had fun doing it.
We had fans. We had a fan.
Our previous podcast was called Watching My Stories. I would basically watch TV and movies, which is what I do with my normal time.
Yep.
And then I would talk to John about it, or if he had watched things, then he obviously joined in as well. We're changing that up a little bit in that we're also still going to talk about things that we do during the weeks here. We're going to call those our everyday escapades. And so if we go to the parks, which, to be honest, right up front, this is the middle of June, we will not be going to the parks until the temperatures cool down. It's too hot for me to go. I don't regulate the heat very well.
But we still go to Disney Springs, and we'll go to resorts and stuff like that.
Right, we go out to eat. Yeah, so we'll talk about all that sort of stuff, or things that we're just doing around the house, if we're going swimming or whatever.
Yeah.
So we'll do that, and then we'll get into the TV and movies. My very special interest all my life has been TV and movies. It's what I like to talk about, and so we will get into that.
Is that why we call you Dhani TV?
No one has ever
turns
called
out
it.
It's just me, and only every once in a while.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
yeah,
let's see. I am going to be switching or moving all of our old podcasts from our old YouTube channel to this one. So if for some reason you want to go back and listen to a movie that came out 3 years ago and what we thought of it, they'll be there. So that's something you can do. So our first segment is always going to start out. This was something we did on our other podcast with John's Joke Corner.
Yeah, it was.
So,
new sound effect.
He's not great at this, but we give him a chance.
I'm not great.
We try to get him.
There isn't much that I am great at, but I laugh a lot. And I love jokes, so it just kind of was sort of a natural thing for me, I guess. But so, as usual, I'm not very well prepared for this. So I found two, that I'm going to give a go, and she hasn't heard them, and I am notorious for not great jokes.
We should put some sort of disclaimer that maybe, or these.
No, they're clean.
Okay,
they're okay jokes. Nobody will be offended.
Okay,
unless your name is Terry.
There's a lot of Terrys out there.
Sorry, Terrys. But it's they're clean. They won't offend anybody. They just might not be as funny to other people as they were to me when I first saw them.
Okay.
So there was this guy. Well, I'm sorry. Let me start over. So you're introduced to a man named Terry. You laugh and tell him that's a girl's name.
Aww.
He punches you real hard and you die. You know what you died from?
Dysentery. Oh, did I write it? I'm so sorry. I had it in my head and I should have just said, no, what did you... I'm so sorry. I ruined it.
I'm not sure you ruined
Dysentery.
it. No,
dysentery.
You died.
Dysentery. You died from dysentery. Oregon Trail joke. Shout out to Gen Xers everywhere.
Oh, that actually was an Oregon Trail joke.
Yeah.
Oh, I got rid of that part, but it was like you're on the Oregon Trail and you're introduced to a man named Terry.
Oh, you didn't put... You're older. You're older than Oregon Trail.
I am older than the Oregon Trail.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, calm down.
Okay, so let's do the second one and I won't ruin it.
All right.
Sorry about that.
You know what brand of tennis shoes chickens wear?
What brand of tennis shoes chickens wear? What? Yeah. What?
Reebok, buck. Oh, please. All right. That's enough.
Okay. Reebok, buck.
Oh, I said it wrong, too.
Oh, you did? No.
It should have been Reebok.
People have stopped watching.
Nope. That didn't. Okay, you may have to work on that. Sorry about that.
You? Me?
You. I'm not doing any editing. Sorry.
Anyway,
Sorry about that. All right, I apologize, everybody. That was...
Welcome to John's Joke Corner.
Nope, we have left John's Joke Corner.
Don't expect it to get better next week.
Don't expect it to be in next week.
Hopefully. Oh, it's going to be in. You just got to strive.
I'm going to spend more than 35 seconds looking for a joke.
That's the thing.
Actually, you want to hear
ADD.
You want to hear something really sad? I spent more than 35 seconds looking for those jokes.
That is sad then. Wah, wah.
That's what you need.
I know. I need a meow, meow. That's a Debbie Downer reference,
SNL joke.
Everyone. Okay, we're moving on to Everyday Escapades.
Probably a good idea.
All right, so we were thinking about what to talk about in this segment. Mm-hmm. Luckily, this past weekend, we actually had things that we had to do. This past Saturday was my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And so I took Friday off of work so that we could go to the movies and not be in the Saturday masses. So this is here. Everyone can see.
Guess what we saw?
We saw Inside Out 2.
Yes.
Inside Out is my favorite Pixar movie. So I was very excited to go and see the sequel. We won't talk about the movie right now. We'll do that when we get to the film and TV portion. But we went to a new theater.
Yeah.
In Kissimmee. It was the Studio Movie Grill.
Yeah, SMG.
We had never been there before. No. It was nice and it was not crowded at all.
No, it was pretty nice. We were in a probably 200-seat theater.
Yeah, and there were maybe 20 people.
And there was, nice and spread out, which,
But we went at 10 o'clock in the morning, so.
Is good for us.
Yeah. And then, and for my birthday, John got me a new Loungefly.
Oh.
And it's the Inside Out 2 one, so it has all of the new feelings, emotions on here, as well as the old ones, and you can choose what you're feeling today. I love it. So that was very exciting to get to take that to the movies.
I think that was a score.
Yes, he did well, everybody. He did well. And then we went to Friendly's. So
yep.
I grew up in Virginia, and we always had a Friendly's, and we have been living in California for I don't know how many years.
A lot.
And they didn't have Friendly's out there, and we saw that one had opened up here, and I was very excited, and that's where I wanted to spend my birthday.
Yeah, Friendly's is a diner-ish type ice cream shop. Ice cream type
diner. Yeah, I don't know where it stops where it is and where it isn't, but it's as a kid it was something like, you know, my cousin had her birthday parties there, like it's just one of those things, but their ice cream was really good. So we went there, we had a great lunch, we had some ice cream.
Yep.
And then we came home basically and just kind of chilled the rest of the day.
Didn't we get in the pool? Did we get in the pool?
Not that day.
Not that day.
No, because it was raining all week. Remember?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So then Saturday we got up. It was my actual birthday, and we went to Rosa Mexicano. That is the it's a Mexican restaurant inside the Dolphin Resort at the Swan and Dolphin Resort on property at Disney World.
Yep.
And we love this place. We've only been for breakfast, but we are scheduled to go with my parents for dinner on the 30th. So we will definitely be including that. So I had a great, wonderful breakfast, huevos rancheros and some Mickey waffles. I'm gluten-free, so they had to, you know, they had to make some gluten-free ones, which was so wonderful. And I'm so thankful that they do that. John got the buffet. Stick to the a la carte stuff. Their a la carte stuff is much better than the buffet.
I think we've been now, this is our fourth time, I think.
Third
or
so,
fourth time.
Yeah.
And I've gotten the buffet every time, and every time I get it, I look at hers and I'm like, I should just get something out the menu.
Yeah, and I do always share mine.
Yeah, and it's just the way to go. The buffet is good. It's good.
Yeah.
But
so if you haven't been to the Dolphin Resort, it's so beautiful.
yeah.
It's so beautiful. And inside there is the Shula's Steakhouse, that Blue Zoo. I think that's like a seafood place.
Oh, yeah. We're not seafood
There's something
people, so
else across the way there. I forget. But lots of restaurants in there. Yeah. It's gorgeous. They have boats from Hollywood Studios. You can take a boat from Hollywood Studios. You can take buses from other locations to the Swan and Dolphin. The one negative thing that will probably deter us from going for a while for breakfast is they charge you parking for parking. So if you drive yourself, it's $35 for parking.
It's even worse. It's $36.
We've tried to get it validated. Once we did, but this time no one was budging. They will validate your parking during dinner, but for lunch and breakfast, they do not validate. Right. So keep that in mind if you do have your own vehicle. Go to Hollywood Studios, especially if you have an annual pass and you have free parking, and then take the boat over. It was just, we went so early. Yeah. We just didn't want to deal with it and, you know, chalk it up to a birthday expense, I guess. So
yeah, but that was like 40% of our total bill.
Yeah, it's such good food.
It's really
Definitely
good.
Go to
really
Rosa Mexicano.
Good.
Whenever you're in town, check it out. Get over there somehow.
Yeah.
And then that night we watched Wish.
Yeah.
Which you hadn't seen. So we will be talking about that also in the TV and movie section.
Yep.
And then yesterday was Father's Day. It was Happy Daddy Day.
Of which I am.
He is a father. I call him Happy Daddy Day from our dog, our pups that is no longer with us, but we still celebrate him as being her daddy. But he also is an actual father with a human child.
Yeah.
And so yesterday we just I did get in the pool some, and we just kind of hung out.
Yeah, we had a very chill day.
Yeah.
I'm also a race fan, and there was a NASCAR race on. Turns out it was on last night, which I'm used to them.
But you got IHOP for breakfast.
Got IHOP for breakfast. Sprinkled in a little McDonald's in the afternoon.
Oh, that's right. I didn't do that. Yeah.
And then got a Domino's pizza.
Which I didn't do either. Oh my gosh, what a day you had.
Oh, that's my big day.
Anyway, so that's kind of all we've really been up to. It's typical Florida summer where it could rain at any moment. It's iffy on when we can get in the pool and when we can't. So we kind of play that by ear. Especially after work, it's tough to get
most of the spring has been pretty good.
It's just hot.
It's been hot, but it hasn't been
dry.
Rainy.
Yeah.
Until like the last 2 weeks. It's been everything you've heard about Florida being, threatening to be washed off the map. It's true. There's a lot of flooding in Florida. We've been lucky in that this particular area hasn't gotten a ton, but it's been raining a lot.
Yeah. So we've only been here we've been in Florida for 2 years, in our house, it will be the end of July that we have been in our house, because when we got here, it wasn't finished being built. So
Yeah.
we're coming up on that 2-year mark.
Yep.
And yeah, that's. I feel like I skipped over a lot, but
You probably did.
if you have questions, put them in the comments down below. If there's anything else you want to know about, you'll see probably I'll intermix kind of what's on the table every week, because we have all of these collections. What are they called?
They're just the deluxe figurine sets.
Yeah. So we have a ton of these because he likes to collect them. Oh, what's Sadness looking at? Anyway, so, and if you're listening to the audio only podcast on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcast,
Wherever you get your podcast.
you are missing out somewhat. I do have a lot of B-roll that we're going to be putting in here.
So far, they haven't missed out on much. But there will be, we promise
Right.
there will be
We're
more
gonna
exciting
be
stuff in the future.
Putting more video to action, as well as during the movie sections.
Yeah.
Probably a lot more video
Yeah.
in there as well. So we encourage you to watch on YouTube. Definitely, if you can, subscribe and like the video. And again, if you have any questions or want to know anything else, please leave messages, comments, and then we will address them in future podcasts.
Yep.
All right. So now we're going to move on to what we're watching, I guess is the name of the
What are we
segment.
watching?
What are we watching? It's a built-in. I
That's
have to
so
use
jarring.
it. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'll get used to it, probably. But
All
you've seen me
right.
jump. I'm not used to it yet.
So, in our previous podcast, we never really did a rating system. We just kind of talked about the movies that we liked. And also, if you listen to our previous podcast, we always ended every episode with an actor's corner. And we would choose an actor from the week, and we would not discuss all of their work. We would go through and choose. We have categories like love, secretly love, embarrassed we haven't seen, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we'll get to that after we get to through these reviews. But we decided this time to do a rating system. And John voted. He wanted to do a rating system. I think normally we're used to seeing people doing like 1 through 5. He wanted to do 1 through 10.
Yeah.
And he wants to do whole numbers. So we're not going to have a 5.5 or a 2.25 or anything like that. So it's going to be strictly whole numbers. And
Unless something goes horribly wrong, we should only have whole numbers.
so we will see how this goes. So also, because it feels like there's not a lot on television right now, we are kind of going back into May and talking about some movies that we've seen or things that we thought we would just catch up on. And it's going to extend into the next podcast because there's still quite a few things I think we should talk about that are relevant still, and we'll get caught up on all this stuff.
Yeah, and I just want to real quick point out again that you watch a lot more than I do.
Yeah.
So there's going to be things that we talk about that only you have watched. I haven't. I'll try to add what I can, but
Right.
I won't have much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first movie we're obviously going to talk about is Inside Out 2. Mm-hmm. You were telling me this morning it broke records.
Yeah,
Which is
second
awesome.
largest animated movie opening. I think only Incredibles 2 beat it.
That's awesome.
But it also set a top record for worldwide release in the first weekend. $295 million worldwide.
It's fantastic.
155 in the U.S. over the 3-day weekend, and they were predicting 90 million.
That's great because, you
Yeah.
know, I think people have been down on Pixar lately, and
Yeah.
I don't think they've had a miss. And so I'm just thrilled that people went back out and saw this. You know, we actually don't get out to the theater as much. But
Well, this was the first movie that we had been to in 4 years.
yeah,
Yeah. So, and the first one in Florida, and then a little over 2 years we've been here. Sorry.
yeah, but okay. So let's just get on. with
Well, we
the
watch a
movie.
lot of stuff from home.
Yeah, we do.
That's the point.
Yeah. So let's see. How do we talk about this? So, if you saw Inside Out, which is my favorite Pixar movie, you know it's about these emotions, and Riley is the main girl, and these are the emotions in her head. Riley has now turned 13, which brings along puberty and brings many more emotions. So, we added to the roster anxiety, envy, ennui, and embarrassment.
Yep.
And and it's they've extended to where by 13 you start to have a belief system.
Yeah.
And that belief system is encouraged by the things around you, by the things that people say to you, as well as what you say to yourself.
Right.
And that those beliefs then turn into your sense of self. And Riley now has this very specific sense of self. And it kind of just goes haywire once these new emotions come in, and she's 13 and about to go into high school, and things that she has to deal with at that age.
Well, predictably, 13-year-old girls are notorious for anxiety, right? And 13-year-olds in general, right? There's a lot you're experiencing for the first time and going through, and anxiety is just real big. So you can kind of see it coming that anxiety is going to play a big part, I think.
Yeah, so I don't want to give away the point of the story because I think it's so profound. I don't know if profound's the right word. It's so good. I want people to discover what happens on their own.
It is really well done.
It is really well done.
Yeah.
Just as well done as the first. I'm still going to love the first more. Yeah, he likes this one better.
I like the second one better, actually.
If I had watched this at home, I would have been sobbing uncontrollably.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It would have been really, really difficult to get through.
And don't misunderstand me. I loved the first one. I really did. This movie was fantastic. I thought it was.
It is very good.
So good.
Yeah. So, there were a couple things I was just gonna banter about this movie, and the first is, if you had to choose an emotion that you relate to the most, what would you choose?
Well, apparently lately it's anger. But, I've always tried to be a pretty upbeat person and even keeled. So I find myself kind of, really leaning towards joy. Is that, I mean, it's so cliche. I mean, I think everybody feels that they.
I wouldn't. So I don't know.
Okay, most people. But yeah, of all those, I mean, joy, sometimes anger. Yeah.
It's very interesting.
I'm sticking to it.
Okay. Mine's always going to be sadness, I think, just because I love her so much. And I feel like, I'm not talking depression or anything like that. I feel like just being sad is good, crying is good. I just feel like those things can be,
they're healthy,
incredibly healthy and cathartic. And now, from the second group, embarrassment probably reigns supreme with me, and then of course anxiety, which so. And then, Riley always has these personality islands that branch out from her headquarters, and they're for her family, her friends, goofball island, that sort of thing. Can you think of what your personality islands would be?
Oh, boy. So, unfortunately, for better or for worse, I think my family island would be about the same size as hers was in the original. Love my family, brothers and sisters, but we don't talk much anymore, so we're distant. I think I probably have a hobbies island. I've got several hobbies that I, partake in. Entertainment, which I think is different. Boy, what else would there be? Home island. Doing stuff at home. I mean, we're how do we phrase it? We're extroverted homebodies, but not really extroverted.
I'm not extroverted at all.
We do a lot from home, but we also get out and about and do things, but we really like being home.
Yes.
So those are the three I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay.
How about you?
Yeah, there would be some sort of relationship island that you and I live on.
Whoopsie.
I mean, that's the majority of my life.
Can I have a do-over?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
I would have obviously a TV movie island.
Yeah,
And
entertainment.
those might have little islands of ones that I really go nuts for, like, Walking Dead or maybe a Disney Pixar, like they might have little
Sure.
offshoot islands.
Yeah.
There's a Broadway island. Yeah, that's a lot of what I can think of.
Yeah.
That's about the majority of my life.
I might have a racing island, actually.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big part of my hobby, and it'd probably have its own island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you rate Inside Out 2?
Okay, so this is going to be controversial right out of the gate, but I gave it a 10.
Wow.
I know, it's crazy, and it's the first one on the list, but...
What would you rate the first one?
Ooh, 8 or 9.
Okay.
It's right up there.
Okay.
So here's the thing. I don't envision giving out a lot of 10s. I really don't. But this movie just hit me in all the right ways, and I just loved it. I thought it was so well done. I hadn't seen a complete movie like this in a while.
Okay.
So 10.
I gave it a 9.
Yeah.
And that's because to me the first one is a 10. So, and since we can't do halvesies or anything,
Nope.
Then it's comparing to that 10, this would be a 9. And honestly, if I had to name something that was wrong with it, I wouldn't be able to come up with something that was wrong. Why not a 10? I don't know. But, and again, I'll watch it a million more times and maybe then it becomes the 10. I don't know. So that's that.
No halvesies. The only halvesies we do is cheese fries. Sorry.
All right. The next movie we're going to talk about, this is where we're going back a couple months, is The Fall Guy. I figure this was kind of the start of the summer blockbuster season, so we might as well include this.
Yep. Okay.
Sorry about that. So again, I think most people in the world know this is Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Hannah Waddingham.
Sorry, I'm fighting off a sneeze.
Oh. Am I leaving out anything for that? Sorry. The director is David Leitch, who he was a former stuntman, so it makes sense that he does this movie about stunts.
Yep. Stunt people.
This is loosely based off of the TV show The Fall Guy. I think they could have called it anything else and it would have been just as fun. I don't know. What else do you have to...
I can't really add much. There is a Lee Majors cameo at the very end. It could have been, like you say, it was so far removed from Fall Guy that it probably should have been named something else, but they played on the name for recognition.
I loved this movie. I thought it was so much fun. It was so enjoyable. I've watched it like 3 times, I think.
Okay.
I love the characters. I loved the banter. I thought it was really funny. And in the meantime, it's funny and enjoyable. And then they're sticking these amazing like practical stunts into the whole thing.
Wow.
And that's it blew my mind. Now, is the story that coherent? And he has to solve this thing of where the guys. Who cares? I don't care. It worked. I have no problem with it. Do you want to sit there and this isn't one of those that you went into thinking, okay, how am I going to solve this before it happens? Who cares? It was fun and frivolous and lots of good action and real action, not, the CGI stuff. I'm good with it.
So if you saw any press or interview...
And a great soundtrack. Sorry.
Yeah, great soundtrack. Totally. If you saw any press or interviews about this movie, you probably heard that it was an ode to stunt people. And it really is. It is.
It's great.
It is a love letter to stunt people.
Yes.
And it's action-packed. There were several parts that I could have done without. I didn't love it as much as you did, which you and I knew.
Now everybody knows.
Now everybody knows it's out. I could have done without the unicorn. But you know.
That was funny. Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well then let's jump to the ratings.
Okay. Go ahead.
What did you rate it?
Go ahead. You go.
I gave it an 8.
Okay.
A very solid 8. And my ratings, I think of things a little bit differently. You know, I think a lot of people think, oh, it's well made and well shot, and if that's the case, I'll talk about that. But a lot of times, to me, a rating is more about how often am I going to rewatch something, because I do rewatch pretty much everything.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair.
So for me, an 8 is 1, I'm going to tell other people to watch it, and 2, I'm going to watch it a ton and always be satisfied by it. So that's how I came up with the 8.
Okay.
And you?
I gave it a 7.
Well, that's not bad. That's
Yeah.
not that much fun.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Without Hannah Waddingham, it would have been a 6.
Okay.
I'm just going to leave it at that.
She's worth a point. I'll give you that.
She's worth more than that, but it was already at a 6, so.
Okay. Good. Anything else to add on that?
No, nope. Nothing.
So the Fall Guy is available on pay-per-view now. You can rent it. You can buy it. We bought it. I bought it the first day it came out.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Yeah.
All right. The next movie I'm going to talk about is another rental pay-per-view. Is Abigail, which you did not see.
I did not see, so we'll
I'll
all learn about this together.
This was a movie that I was shocked by, because I thought it was going to be this weird, the little girl vampire thing. They did not market this movie right. I felt like it was so much better than I expected. So I'll just start off. I gave it a 7. This is something, one, I want you to watch.
Okay.
I think you'll get a kick out of it. And when I say that, it's funny. It's got great banter. And first off, the cast is great. So there's Melissa Barrera from In the Heights and the Scream series.
Yeah. Okay.
Dan Stevens, Matthew Crawley.
Okay.
Who else am I looking? Oh, the girl from Catherine Newton. She was the daughter from Blockers.
Oh, okay.
Kevin Durand, everyone knows him. Angus Cloud, which he passed away, so this is one of his last things. Giancarlo Esposito. And then the little girl is Alicia. I assume it's Weir, her last name. She was, which you haven't seen, it's on our list for you to watch, is Matilda the musical. She was the little Matilda. Okay. And this girl was so good, and the whole cast was funny, and it was much more of a caper is the word that comes to mind, and I don't know if that's right. But I was really into it, and I really enjoyed it. So as far as I'm concerned, Abigail, I would suggest to people to watch. Now, obviously, if you don't like, it's not really scary. It's... But she's a little girl vampire, but I don't know how to explain it.
It's a caper with little girl vampire.
Yes.
Okay, well...
But I give it a 7. If you think you might like it, definitely worth checking out. It'll surprise you.
So many questions, but I'm going to wait until I actually watch it.
Yes. The next movie we're going to discuss is If, the movie written and directed by John Krasinski. Another one that you have not seen yet.
Nope, but he can't do any wrong.
Well, I gave it a 6.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Oh, scandalous.
And John Krasinski is my favorite person in the world, after you, of course.
I don't know.
Now, this one, I feel like it's Ryan Reynolds, and the girl, of course, is Kaylee Fleming, or it might be Callie. I don't know exactly how she pronounces it, but she's from Walking Dead, which is one of my favorite shows ever. And the reason I gave, they kept saying that this was like a real life Pixar movie, is how like Ryan kept saying things about it. And it does feel that way sometimes, but it wasn't fleshed out enough for me. And I didn't have an imaginary friend, which is what IF stands for. If you don't know, this whole movie is about imaginary friends. And I'm not sure if maybe I couldn't connect to that.
Yeah, I didn't.
Which is, I hate to say that, because I don't normally feel like you have to have something to experience it in the movies and get it.
Yeah.
But I think people, and I would love to hear from adults who had imaginary friends who have watched this movie and it like really got them, because I think it would. But
I
didn't have
imagine, yeah, and I've heard it resonates with people who did have imaginary friends. I did not, so I don't know, how to connect to it. Like you said, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you'll watch. I'll watch it
but
again
I will,
to have you watch it.
I
Yeah.
will watch it because,
And
both,
again, it's one of those that I will probably watch over and over and over again. And at that point, I'll probably like it more and more.
So it's a 6 for now.
It's a 6 for now.
Okay.
All right. The next movie we're going to discuss is Godzilla Minus One, which you did want to see.
I did.
And it finally came out on Netflix, and so we were able to watch it. And we both went into this with high hopes because we had heard all last year. It was the best movie of the year. It won an Oscar, all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff. And then we watched it.
So, so monster movies are kind of my genre.
Yes.
So I'm going to take the lead on this one. Well, I'm going to go first. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to go first. I had such high hopes for this because, the last couple of years we've had the Americanized Godzilla, which
I actually like.
she likes, and I understand big action epic movies and the stories are, okay. And I had high hopes because this was Toho International, which is the original, the originator of Godzilla. They're the, the OGs. And it didn't hit me like I think it's hit a lot of other people. I thought the story was just not cohesive, was underdeveloped. Now, I will give them this. The budget for the movie was like $15 million. They did more with $15 million than I think anybody ever has. But I didn't. I gave it a 7. Ultimately, gave it a 7. I was expecting to give it a 9 based on everything I heard, and it just did not live up to that for me.
I have to interject here. How can you give something a 7 that we had to fast forward basically an hour's worth of the movie through?
Because they used the original music.
The Charlie's Angels music.
No, the Godzilla music, which was sampled for Charlie's Angels.
I gave it a 1. And I gave it a 1 because the monster stuff was great. There wasn't enough of it. And I thought the story was boring. Why couldn't it be modernized? And we fast forward it because the story was so boring. We were like, let's get to the monster. And so we just fast forward.
The hero of the movie was
confusing.
Such a weak hero, or main character. It was great. So did you originally give it a 2?
No.
And then you -1 to get to a 1.
Okay.
Wow.
Anything else to say about Godzilla Minus One?
Not after that.
Okay. We're going to move on then. We've got a couple TV shows and then... Oh, well, actually, let's skip ahead to Wish so we can finish up the movies.
Actually, I do want to say one thing about Godzilla Minus One. We did watch the American dubbed version.
Yes.
And I have heard, haven't seen it, but I have heard that the original Japanese language with English subtitles is somehow better.
So maybe their dialogue is better. Because when they dub, they try to match the mouth movements. And so it'll shorten a lot of, they might be saying something really long and they'll just go, let's just get out of here or something. And so I understand that, but I can't imagine it makes
I can't imagine it brings it up.
Again, if you watched it and you liked it, let us know down below and maybe we can try something
Comment
again.
down below.
Okay, we're going to skip ahead to Wish.
Okay.
Because we did just watch that. I had actually seen it a while ago, but he hadn't.
Okay.
And so since it was my birthday, I kind of forced him to watch Wish.
Yeah.
So this stars Ariana DeBose, who of course just hosted the Tonys last night, and Chris Pine and a bunch of other people. Latest Disney animation. So what do you think?
Well,
What'd you rate it?
I gave it an 8.
Wow. I gave it a 5.
Wow. See, you're more of a purist than I am, I guess. My ratings are probably going to be, by and large, higher than a lot of yours because I don't watch as many movies, right? And I kind of go into every movie with, I'm kind of like the big dumb animal. I just kind of sit down. I'm like, I'm going to be entertained, and if I'm entertained at all, I'm entertained.
Okay.
So my expectations, except for Godzilla Minus One and probably a Shawshank remake, my expectations are going to be, pretty middle of the road. So it's not going to be hard to hit. So if it hits it, I'm going to score it above average probably because I was entertained. I liked it. There was a lot of it. I don't even know what I didn't like about it.
But you gave it an 8, so there can't be much.
Because I was entertained.
Okay. So here's my thing is when I watched it the first time, which was, I don't know, weeks ago or whatever, whenever it came out, I was doing other things, and so I didn't pay a lot of attention. And I knew then, I was like, something's distracting me, and so I'm not really into this. It must not be that good. So when we watched it again, my first thought was, I felt like the animation was very rudimentary or something. And again, I don't know if it's because the day before we had just seen Inside Out, and that's so amazing. I felt like it was very cartoonish, or it almost felt like the TV show animation style.
Yeah,
I feel like we're way beyond that style.
Well, so they did make I think it was a conscious choice to make it a little bit, not less than, but not blow you away with the animation. I think they wanted to rely more on the story, and the animation was adequate.
Yeah, it bothered me. Even the star looks like I drew it, so. And the songs, I mean, I like the one song, the Wish song, and I love the song about the stars where all the animals are singing, but it's not that album that I'm so used to of every wonderful song.
Yeah.
And what's with all the comments on the King Magnifico's looks? Like, everyone's just like, we've gone from Encanto and these movies now, these animation movies that are so deep and about turning red and emotional generational trauma and all these sorts of things, and now we've got these chicks that are constantly like, oh, he's so good, I want to give him a kiss, I want to do this. I'm like, why is that even in there? Because again, those lines just don't need to be there at all, but part of what I guess his deal is he has such an ego and he thinks he's so good looking. He can think that without everyone else in the city thinking
but
it just felt like a step backwards again.
And I don't know for sure because I haven't talked to Jennifer Lee for a long time, but I would imagine that they did that so that you were constantly reminded that he was vain.
Well, he was reminding us enough. I didn't feel like we needed to stoop down to that. So
okay. That's my
I don't know.
half-hearted attempt.
Is it cute? It's cute. Do I like the ending part and when everyone starts singing? I do. It gives you some feels. I love the goat. I love that goat.
Yeah.
But when this is on television, will I stop and watch it? Probably when I know it's the parts that I like, but I'm not going to sit and watch this from start to finish again.
Maybe if it's on, put it on to fall asleep to. I don't know, but yeah.
I mean, I'm on Disney Plus all the time rewatching Elemental and Encanto, all of them. I just put them on, especially when I am taking a nap or something, and this one won't be in that rotation. So
okay, I'm changing my score.
He's so easily influenced.
Yeah, I am. I am because look, everything you're saying is true, and it's stuff that bugged me while we were watching it. I just kind of, I give. I'm
okay.
Joyful.
Go ahead.
I amend my score down to a 6.
Okay, mine's still a 5. So quickly, let's get through these two
please.
TV shows. Yep. So the first one is The Big Door Prize. The second season just ended. Of course, we watched the first season too. Yep. This is with Chris O'Dowd and Josh Segarra, who I just love so much. That's Giorgio.
Oh, okay.
he's been in everything. He's been in Arrow and She-Hulk, and I mean, he always pops up. He's just wonderful.
You had a really good comment the other day. There should be a spin-off with those two.
Yes. So this is a very interesting show in a very weird little town with weird little townspeople, and this machine shows up and starts giving people their potential on a card, and it's kind of like, how does that mess with you? How does that mess with your brain, your life, everything that the people around you? And it's very interesting. So I said, let's rate the second season, obviously, because it just finished, but let's go ahead and give our thoughts on the first season too, because I felt like there was a difference.
Because we need to.
Yeah. So, so the first season I gave an 8. What did you give the first season?
I'll give the first season a 9.
Okay. The first season was very good. It was very introspective, but it was still very entertaining.
Yes.
The second season, I went from an 8 on the first season down to a 6.
I also gave it a 6.
So you went from a 9 to a 6.
Yeah.
I felt like the second season, they spent way more time on the individuals and kind of, it didn't seem to keep the flow of this interesting morpho machine enough for me. But I really want there to be a third season. I want to find out what happens.
Yeah, it was good enough that I will watch it again, I guess, when it, when we're looking for something to binge repeat, maybe. And I do want there to be a third season, but the story did not progress as much as a story in season 2 should have, in my mind.
Yeah, I guess. They seem to focus on something different this time. And anyway, so Big Door Prize, it's on Apple TV Plus. Both seasons are up. I still suggest it to people because I still think it's a different type of show, and I think it's worth people watching.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Good. And then the last show we're going to talk about, and then we'll get into our Actors Corner, is Welcome to Wrexham. This is the reality show from Ryan Reynolds and
everybody knows what it is.
McElhenney and their soccer team in Wales. The third season just ended. We just have to rate the third season. What did you give it?
I gave it a 9.
I gave it a 10.
I understand that.
I do believe this is a perfect show from the first season to the second season to the third season. Every episode is lovely. I cry. It's beautiful. It feels scripted. And yet it's real life with real people that they are highlighting in this little town of Wrexham in Wales. And the way they're teaching us about the town. They're teaching us about soccer. They're teaching us about everything. And to see the successes that these people have, it's just lovely. I love it. Yeah,
and it's really nice because every episode, here's what gets me. Every episode has several very poignant moments.
Absolutely.
And you don't have a lot of shows that have that, right? And this is a reality
Especially
show.
reality.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, certainly the reality you watch.
Well.
Keep your fit to yourself. I forgot where I was going with that, but several moments of poignancy, and it's every emotion you have in every episode.
Yeah.
You're sad about something, you're happy, you're on the edge of your seat, and you can't help it. At least I can't. I'm not a big soccer fan. I'm not really a soccer fan at all. But I find myself when they're showing the game and it's a tense game.
We're cheering.
And somebody gets a goal. It's like I stood up several times and pumped my fist. And it's like, I know how that game turned out. That game was 6 months ago.
Right.
I know how it ended.
Right.
But yet the show makes you feel like you're seeing it for the first time. You're living it. And it's so good. It's just so good.
Yeah, it's very good. So all 3 seasons are streaming on Hulu. If you have not kept up with this, and even, again, if you don't like soccer, I don't like sports at all. It's so something else. Like, you just need to go watch it. And if you were a Ted Lasso fan, you can so get into this show.
It's like a real life Ted Lasso.
It is.
It really is.
It's just
crazy.
Wonderful. So,
okay, so I got a question for you.
Oh, okay.
So we went back and did the season 1 of Big Door Prize, if you had to rate the previous seasons of Wrexham,
They would all be 10s.
all 10s. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought so. Yeah, and I may amend mine up. I don't. This rating system is gonna. I don't know. It's a work in progress. I guess.
Okay, so now we're gonna get to the Actors Corner with Amy Poehler. So, if you listen to our previous podcasts, we used to do this a little differently. We have 6 categories that we go through. We have all of the actors' work to go through, and we have to put them into a category of something we like, something we love, something we hate, something we secretly love, something that we're embarrassed we haven't seen, and then something we'd like to add to our watch list. And we go through all of their work and try and categorize these. Now, in the past, we used to allow ourselves to have 3, 4, 5 in a category. You know, so if I really loved 5 things of that person's, I was able to put it in the love category. We decided this time around, we are only allowing one piece of work.
We're making some
per category,
we
which
made
is
some
so
cuts for
hard.
time.
It's so hard.
But it is very hard.
It is very hard.
Look, I'm not a huge Amy Poehler fan, and even
I'm a huge Amy Poehler fan, and this was, my answers will surprise you. So, let's go.
Oh my! Okay.
First thing, something you love of Amy Poehler's.
This is very cliche, and it's not because it's like very recent, but Inside Out 2.
2.
Well, Inside Out 1, but Inside Out 2. She had, so her character Joy, wasn't just rah, everything's great, come on, everybody smile. There was a lot of nuance to that character in Inside Out 2, I thought. There was more nuance to the character. And
Okay.
I loved it. I loved the movie, right? And Joy brought so much to the story, and she brought so much to Joy that I got to give her props for that.
Okay. So, with that being my favorite Pixar film, that is not the answer to something that I love.
Wow.
It's very difficult. But Parks and Recreation had to be my number one.
Yeah.
Leslie Knope is one of the most iconic characters in television. She's so many goals for me, and Leslie and Ben are such relationship goals for me. So I had to put Parks and Rec as the something I love.
Yeah.
All right. How about what you like?
The House.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I have The House under secretly love because it's more than a like for me. I love that movie. Well, Will Ferrell again. Will Ferrell's on my marriage list.
If anything ever happens to John Krasinski,
that's right. He's second. So, and Amy Poehler's hysterical in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good role for her. She nails that. So yeah, I get that.
So under my like, I have Sisters.
Yeah,
and it was a toss up. Her and Tina Fey, of course, we always put together, and I sat here between Baby Mama, Wine Country, and Sisters. And Wine Country, Amy wrote and directed, and I love that movie, and I watch it all the time. It's on Netflix. Check it out. But I had to go with Sisters because I can literally watch this every day. I love it. It cracks me up. The two of them together, there's nothing better. So that's what I have there. How about something you hate?
I couldn't come up with anything.
I don't have anything either.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's one of those few that hasn't really had a bomb.
Right.
Or something that just didn't hit.
Right.
Yeah.
How about Secretly Love?
Sisters.
Yeah, I know you do.
And yours is The House.
And mine is The House. So we're just a little reversed on that one.
Opposite.
Yeah. Anything you're embarrassed you haven't seen yet?
Parks and Rec.
I know. I've tried to get them to watch. And go ahead.
In all fairness, I have seen a little bit of it, but I have not seen enough of it that I think it nullifies my statement of I haven't seen it.
Right. Absolutely. I have nothing I'm embarrassed I haven't seen. Most of her IMDb I have written down because I've watched it all. Anything you're going to add to your watch list?
I left this blank, but we're always looking for something to watch.
Yeah.
I'm open to Parks and Rec.
See, he doesn't want to say it because then he knows I'm just going to be like, let's watch Parks and Rec. Let's watch it.
Because half an hour from now, we'll be at the TV watching the first episode.
So I don't have anything to add to my watch list. I do have honorable mentions because I feel like she deserves it. So, of course, what?
I only have one honorable mention, but I didn't even know we were doing that. So
go ahead.
It's the Debbie Downer
Disney. My first one is the SNL. She was so much fun on that. Obviously, watch the best of, and Debbie Downer will be on there.
Yeah.
Welcome to Sweden was another show that she produced. It starred her brother, and she was in it, and it was kind of based on his real life that he had married this Swedish woman, and then he moved to Sweden, and they started their family there. It was such a funny show because it showed all of these quirks that Swedish people do and the differences and how they live and how we live. And he was funny. I don't know why he hasn't done more. But she would show up from now and then, but she did produce the whole thing. Of course I have Inside Out, Wet Hot American Summer, great movie, great TV series. Kind of making fun of all the camp movies that we used to watch in the 80s. Wine Country, like I said, her movie from start to finish. It's all SNL girls. I love it so much. And then Baby Mama, which was the first Tina and Amy movie, which is so funny. And Steve Martin's great in it and everyone's good. So,
yeah.
She's got good stuff. And I'm very excited to see what comes next.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's it. We made it in just under an hour, I think.
Ooh.
So good for us.
I guess.
We will try and kind of keep it tighter. But like I said, we're kind of trying to make up for some things that we've watched over the last couple months. So we won't have as many of these things going on.
It won't be such a movie review show.
Right. We will try and balance it out between Disney stuff, home stuff.
More of our everyday escapades.
Everyday
escapades.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe so that you'll get notification when our next one comes out. We hope to do this every 2 weeks, actually. We might bump it up to a weekly if we start to have more content. So that way these do not last an hour and they're much shorter. So that's it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for visiting our charmed MidLife. And we will see you next time.
Thanks, you guys.
Bye.